Trump always goes too far, and I fear that he is, even on the issues where I think he's pressing in the right direction, he's doing it in such a ham-fisted and incompetent way that it's going to do damage to his own side. Another great example of that is the effort to bend universities to his will, purportedly on account of anti-Semitism.
Brett, let's go back to DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. You gave President Trump praise for him pushing back on this in academia, in governmental organizations, even pressuring in the private sector firms over their DEI programs if there's any link to federal funding or contracts. But are you at all concerned that in some ways, the push by this administration has been so extreme and has encroached on areas of free speech to such a degree that it's actually made extreme DEI ideology? I'm not talking about, including people, being welcoming, encouraging diverse workforces, but the kind of hardcore ideology, left ideology that's often associated with DEI. Are you worried that it's actually made that sympathetic?
Well, that's an excellent point, Larry. And last year, when I was making the case, I wrote a column called "The Republican Case Against Trump." It's a number of columns on that score. One of the points that I made is that Trump will do more to turbocharge the forces of wokeness, if you will, which include support for DEI, than he will to eliminate them, because Trump always goes overboard. That is his style. But I want to say this. Let me make 2 points.
Hi, I'm Janice, and I am co-founder of Jews United for Democracy and Justice, as well as the America at a Crossroads weekly virtual town hall series. If you like this video, don't just watch. Head over to our website where you can subscribe for early access to new programs, see our upcoming schedules, and participate in our weekly live streams. You can also connect directly with our guests live on Zoom. Head over to JewsUnitedForDemocracy.org. Thanks for watching.
When I'm talking about DEI, I want to draw a bright line between DEI, which is fundamentally an effort to achieve equal outcomes, with my firm belief in civil rights and civil liberties, and a commitment to equal opportunities. And I think the original civil rights movement was hijacked in the last few years by so-called DEI practitioners who substituted this word equality with the word equity, and insisted on constantly racializing every conversation in a way that I think was not only toxic, it was ineffective. One of my colleagues on the news side of the New York Times, Nick Confessori, did a big piece about how DEI worked out at the University of Michigan. And the answer is it didn't work out. It didn't work out at all. That being said, your point is really well taken, because Trump always goes too far. And I fear that he is, even on the issues where I think he's pressing in the right direction, he's doing it in such a ham-fisted and incompetent way that it's going to do damage to his own side. Another great example of that is the effort to bend universities to his will, purportedly on account of anti-Semitism. Now, no one was more horrified than I by the explosion of naked anti-Semitism or thinly disguised anti-Semitism on campuses like UCLA, Berkeley, Yale, Harvard, Columbia, and so on. But I think what Trump is now doing now, or what he's doing now by, cutting off funding for, basic medical research, stuff like that, is actually harming the cause of addressing anti-Semitism on this campus rather than helping it.
Do you think, we've got a theme here, DOJ actually hurting the effort to try and rein in and make government more efficient. going after DEI in the way is potentially leading to a backlash and people siding with the DEI ideology. We have in Canada the Liberal Party being resurgent because of Trump's attacks on Canada.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there are all these sort of opposite reactions that the first 100 days of this presidency has engendered. And do you think Trump's supporters see this? If they really believe in the causes that the president is espousing and acting for, do they see the sort of boomerang effect of those actions?
Well, I think you have to distinguish between two kinds of Trump supporters, Larry. There's sort of the hardcore MAGA, which is going to support him no matter what. But then there are people who come from kind of the business-minded side of the traditional Republican Party who didn't think President Biden was mentally fit, who thought that Vice President Harris was way too extreme and had a bad track record and was kind of a California progressive, voted for Trump thinking they were going to get something like Trump 1.0, and then are suddenly discovering that Trump 2.0 is very different. The president isn't being reined in by competent advisors. He's not consulting with Congress. He is governing by executive order and social media post. And I think those are the voters, and they're a critical mass of Republicans who are really turning swiftly away from the president. And no issue is doing more damage to the president among those voters than the tariffs. If you are a person who runs a medium-sized business, and I profiled one such person in my column today, you are being hammered not only by ridiculously high tariffs, but by a climate of total business uncertainty. It is complete amateur hour at the Commerce Department, at the Treasury, in the White House. And these are the Republicans that ultimately Trump and the Republican Party need to win. He's losing them.
Next Wednesday, another stellar guest, one of America's most heralded historians, Douglas Brinkley. My friend Pat Morrison leads the conversation, titled The American Presidency, A Presidential Historian's Perspective. That's next Wednesday, May 7th, 5 p.m. Pacific. For Janice, Zev, and Mel, I'm Larry Mantle. Good night.